Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Patreon-sponsored review time again, and by sheer coincidence, this one and the next one have a common theme. What if the events of a popular movie played out differently? I've said before how I'm not really big on the nerd custom of who would win in a fight between such and such, but you know what I do indulge in? The what if game. Asking how things would have gone if in a popular story, the characters zigged when they should have zagged. And I think a lot of people like that idea. It's why Marvel had a what if ongoing series for so long. To explore such weird questions like, what if Spider-Man's clone had lived? Or what if Jane Foster had the power of Thor? Or hell, even the most unlikely, what if Spider-Man hadn't married Mary Jane? And thus came Star Wars Infinities, a 3 miniseries that explored the idea of, what if things went wrong in the original trilogy at some point? Would things have been better? Worse? Goofier? Really, I should be doing this after I cover the adaptations of the original trilogy that I'm going to start next year, but this is what the patron asked for, and let's face it, most of the people watching this already know the story. And if you don't, well, watch Star Wars A New Hope. It's kind of one of those cultural touchstones that you should see anyway, even if you don't actually like it that much. In the meantime, though, let's dig into Star Wars Infinities A New Hope and see what's changed.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. What's with these awkward subjects? What's all this art so rubbish? To anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he is a man punch, sporadically a grouch. Linkara, he has his own spaceship, but he's always on his couch. Linkara, ghosts, gods, a universe in flux. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
My scans are from the trade of the Omnibus collecting them all, plus it's 4 issues, so we'll skip the covers. We open with a quick recap of the events of A New Hope up until a certain point. And yet no opening crawl! How is this even related to the main series episodes if it doesn't have that? A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, a war raged between oppressed and oppressor, between rebel and empire, between different trilogy fans. A proud and noble tradition was passed into the charge of a new generation, and now you get to see them botch it. And yep, we see how things played out originally. Luke firing the proton torpedoes into the Death Star exhaust port, it goes explodey. A future made, event by event, link by link, a living chain of action, reaction, and change. Alter one event and a new future comes to be. What if Chewie had received a medal during the ceremony? No, we rewind back to the trench run when Han returns and shoots Vader before he can blast Luke. Luke uses the Force and makes the shot, they fly off, but nothing happens. Honestly, it's probably better that way. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable that some farm boy who's never even flown in one of these things before and never used the Force would be able to blow up this massive planet-destroying weapon on his own. That's some Mary Sue bull crap right there, if you ask me. Luke, check your tactical readouts! One of the torpedoes detonated short of the reactor. How? It happens, Luke. Power fields, heat, faulty chip. I knew we shouldn't have downloaded that service patch before we launched. Programming error? I saw Mon Mothma get drunk one time and try to run Doom on one of these torpedoes. This stuff happens in the Rebellion. Wedge says that whatever happens, the Rebellion owes Luke a debt of gratitude, which, you know, good sentiment and all, but the planet-destroying superweapon is still there. Oh, and because they're now no longer close to the Death Star surface, they've got an entire squadron of TIE fighters to contend with. While the remaining fighters split up, the rebels begin an evacuation of the base. Leia pretty despondent about their chances, since she actually saw the Death Star in action. Han convinces Luke that they need to go and save themselves for the time being, since, Well, there's not really much they can do at this point. Good news is that the torpedoes did do damage to the Death Star's power grid. It'll take them several more minutes to fully charge it to blow up Yavin. Unfortunately, it seems this version of Grand Moff Tarkin recalls Rogue One, and that he doesn't actually need the thing at full power to do damage. They fire on the base, but fortunately it just severely damages it, with most surviving. Tarkin orders them to divert all their power to the weapon, and release every reserve fighter to intercept any rebel ships that may get off that moon. I want Lord Vader to lead the operation personally. Where is Vader, anyway?
Oh god, I'm gonna throw up in this thing! Why didn't they anticipate this in the design? Oh jeez, this is not pod racing!
Luke and Han use the gravitational force of the planet to slingshot around it while the rebel fleet manages to evacuate, but the Death Star's power is restored and the moon is destroyed. Luke thinks they were all killed and goes berserk, blasting TIE fighters left and right. However, the fleet survived, captured by the Empire. His anger is stopped by the voice of Obi-Wan. Don't give in to your anger. Save yourself. Your destiny lies elsewhere. Yeah, well, maybe my destiny should have done a better job at not making sucky torpedoes! In a sequence reminiscent of The Empire Strikes Back, the two then evade the remaining TIE fighters by flying into the debris field of Yavin. The TIE fighters break off pursuit, thinking their prey can't navigate the field any better than them, but fortunately Han, and Luke has the Force guiding him. Han reminds Luke that this is their only chance to escape, so they do so, jumping to light speed. On board the Death Star, Leia is brought to Tarkin and Vader. Ah, Princess, again we must extend our hospitality to you. We're sorry for the open sewage line near your room last time. We've comped it and are upgrading you to our executive detention cell, which features a kitchenette and hot tub. That brings us to issue 2. Han and Luke meet up at some rendezvous coordinates, but Luke took longer because his X-Wing is basically fried, especially with R2 still damaged from the fight. Han brings them aboard, Chewie seeing to R2's repairs. R2 spent a lot of time hooked into the Death Star computers. He might have something we can use. Maybe we can blackmail the Death Star! Luke thinks they should still be trying to destroy it, but Han says they had one shot and they failed. The rebellion's a lost cause. Luke says they have to keep fighting for the sake of everyone who died. And I don't want my name added to the list, okay? I'm retired from the hero business. Retired, let go because the store went out of business, same thing really. The two actually come to blows over this, and Luke, in his anger, pulls out his lightsaber. However, Obi-Wan's Force Ghost appears to Luke and tells him to not give in to his anger. This is actually the answer to a question that the movies never really addressed. Can non-Force users see Force Ghosts? And the answer is, nope, Han doesn't see who Luke is talking to. Your training is incomplete. Now is when you are most vulnerable to its influence. Go to the Dagobah system. Find Yoda, the Jedi Master. Tell him I'm sorry I never called, but I was depressed, I refused to help some escaped Jedi, gave up the fight entirely and waited to die. I'm sure you could never relate to that in your own future though, Luke. After the ghost fades, Luke asks Han to take him to Dagobah. We cut over to Coruscant, where the Death Star is now parked outside of, for Vader to deliver Leia to the Emperor. Welcome to Coruscant, Lord Vader, and to your guest. Go to blazes.
Your sense of protocol leaves something to be desired, Princess. Just because we blew up your homeworld and crushed your efforts to stop our evil empire doesn't mean you can be rude. And honestly, using language like blazes, why, if I knew your father, I bet he'd wash your mouth out with soap. Or whatever the hell we call soap. Probably cleaning bricks or something. With the rebellion vanquished, the Emperor's mood is one of magnanimity.
I can't imagine a more sickening display of hypocrisy. Though what the Empire has done to Coruscant comes close. Hanging the flag and symbol on every building? Come on, Vader, even you have to admit that's pretty tacky. Such a vulgar display of oppression and corruption suits the Emperor well.
I'm certain the Emperor will be interested to hear your views, Princess. He's actually just instituted an open door policy for anyone who has complaints and suggestions. It's been going very well.
Leia is brought to the Emperor. Ah, Alderaan, a lovely world, in its day. Not so lovely that you didn't hesitate for a second to order its destruction and the murder of its people. Okay, to be fair, that was Tarkin. My idea was to blow up, like, Jakku or something. No one ever wants to go back there. But then, my vision is not clouded by sentimentality.
All is as I have foreseen it.
Even those weird typos you just made?
Especially the typos.
Yeah, weird that somehow the scans left out an entire letter and misspelled foreseen. Like, were those present in the original individual issues? And if so, why weren't they corrected for the trade? And if they weren't there, how'd they make it into the trade? Anyway, Leia just wants to be executed and get it over with, but Palpatine says they're gonna keep her alive, like
A family pet.
Fortunately, this does not involve putting her in a golden bikini or anything like that. Likely, he can sense her power in the Force. Vader senses something else, though. A disturbance in the Force, but Palpatine shrugs it off.
The greatest triumph is yet to come. A triumph as inevitable as destiny. Yes, this is definitely how things were supposed to go. I can't imagine the story going any other way than how it did.
The Millennium Falcon arrives at Dagobah. Well, here we are. Dagobah, garden spot of the galaxy. Minus the garden. Okay, I know what you were going for, Han, but doesn't spot of the galaxy just mean, like, anywhere? They land the Falcon, and Chewie emerges from the ship with a repaired R2, and they begin their search. How do you expect to find a Jedi Master in this mess? Are we looking for the special Jedi Master swamp? Well, Ben did tell me about Jedi Master Shrek, who also lived in a swamp. Don't ask me how I know, but I know we'll find him. Or he'll find us. Why would I doubt someone who talks to thin air? Damn it, Han, why do we always fight on vacations? Yoda soon finds them.
Looking for someone, are you? Lost you appear to be.
We're not lost.
We're not?
Look, little fella, we're a little busy.
Help you I can, but only if you have breadsticks and penlights. A strange tribe of creatures you are. Is this your chief?
Yes, I, R2-D2, am the one in charge. I'm also the most handsome.
Come, help you find your way, I will.
Look, we don't
know where we are. He does.
Oh, I know where you are. Up Crap Creek without a paddle. He brings them to his hut, and, like an Empire, Luke is impatient and just wants to find Yoda. Han, meanwhile, enjoys the soup. You know, we never talk about that. Was Yoda actually a good cook? Did he teach culinary arts at the Jedi Academy too? We're wasting our time here. He doesn't know anything.
He's playing you, pal. Don't you get it, Luke? This guy's Yoda.
What? How can you know?
Takes a con man to know one. Also because I swiped his wallet when he wasn't looking.
Calm yourself, Luke. Listen carefully to Yoda.
Ben, tell him
Oh yeah, kid. I'm pretty sure Yoda laced the soup with something, because I'm hearing voices now too.
Tricked Dagobah's Congress to legalize it, I did.
Yoda explains that Luke has already started on the path to the dark side. If he doesn't complete his training, he'll become a servant of evil.
Train you I will. Train you I must.
I won't fail you.
On this, the future depends.
In retrospect, aided other Jedi who escaped Order 66 I could have, to avoid you being our only hope.
Kind of an idiot I am.
We cut back to Coruscant, where Leia has been given an apartment guarded by the Empire. Vader shows up with 3PO, the two happy to see each other again, but Vader decides to show Leia Obi-Wan's lightsaber, giving it to her.
Can you feel it? Not like some cold blaster, but a living thing. An extension of the spirit, a servant of the will.
Sure, it's phallic. Why wouldn't it be?
Really wish a line like that had made it into one of the movies. Would explain the reverence for the things that the Jedi, the guardians of peace and justice who aren't supposed to resort to violence, have for them. I mean, beyond the fact that lightsabers are just cool weapons, I mean. That reminds me, I should make a custom lightsaber hilt at some point. The fact that I haven't already is a crime. Anyway, naturally Leia attacks Vader with it, who encourages it, wanting her to release her anger. After she fails to do any damage, Vader takes it away from her using the Force. Which feels like a tactic that Force users should be using against each other all the time, but what the hell do I know?
You felt it, didn't you? Like a hidden voice, breathing strength into your spirit.
Actually, it was more like a creepy mouth breather, to be honest.
You have no idea what you can yet become, Leia. The door opens. And to quote a great Jedi, the door's open, let's go.
After that, we see the standard training session Luke had with Yoda and Empire. Same dialogue, too. Over to Han, who's doing maintenance on the Falcon. He reveals that they've been there for 2 months now, which is kind of surprising since you'd think someone like Han Solo would have gone stir-crazy after the first few days. Han offers Luke the chance to join them as they're planning on finally heading out, but of course Yoda and the Force Ghost of Obi-Wan discourage him. Luke is tempted to leave because he thinks he can do more good off-planet.
You were at the same crossroad that Vader reached.
choose as he did, and his fate will be yours. Vader, too, preferred to hang out with his smuggler best buddy and run around with him instead of training. Plus, he had that apprentice I've never mentioned before. Wonder what she's up to these days. Luke turns Han down, but they leave on good terms, saying that he may need a lift at some point. Back over to Leia, Vader comes to visit her again. Good afternoon, Lord Vader. May I just say that...
Leave us.
You're not my maker, you can't say that.
But you're wrong, 3PO. I am your maker.
Oh dear, that's not true. That's impossible.
Search your circuits. You know it to be true.
No!
Now is the time that an empire formed in the crucible of battle must forge a future in which war is but a fading memory.
Who exactly are you at war with if the rebellion is gone?
The Emperor is dying, Leia. And fortunately, he doesn't have, like, a secret granddaughter or a crap ton of clones that his soul jumps into or something.
He says that they can use the resources of the Empire to help people, and that when the Emperor dies, they'll need leadership that doesn't crave victory or power. Yeah, as you can imagine from these scenes, Vader's grooming Leia to be his apprentice and a new Sith. This is emphasized when we have a repeat of Luke's journey into the cave on Dagobah, but instead of his own face when he smashes the vision of Vader, it's Leia. Issue 3 is another time skip to 5 years in the future. Han and Chewie are in a strip club, or go-go dancing club, I guess. Either way, naked ladies dancing in cages, as we see them watching a news report about the 5th anniversary of the end of the rebellion.
Celebrations are underway to commemorate another year of peace in the galaxy.
I mean, if you've been living in peace for 5 years anyway, do you really need the big fancy parade? Yeah, fascism likes to parade around its military forces, I know. Anyway, point is, Palpatine is actually allowing the formation of a new Imperial Senate, and the representative of Coruscant is Leia, to the shock of our heroes. As you all know, I once led an ill-conceived violent insurrection against the Empire, a rebellion that cost the lives of many beings, especially the lives of Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor, who stole the Death Star plans.
What about Kyle Katarn?
Who? The war is over, but its wounds are still fresh. Now, the Empire's commitment must be to healing as greatly as it was to restoring order. The restoring of the Senate is the ultimate expression of the Empire's desire to bind the wounds of war. Plus, we still got that big-ass Senate chamber with the floating discs, and we really don't know what else to do with it. We were storing old arcade cabinets there. Han becomes enraged at this and smashes the holo TV or whatever. It attracts the attention of the rest of the bar, the two making a quick exit afterwards, but it seems some of the patrons recognize him as Han Solo, still carrying a price on his head from Jabba. Wait, why didn't Han go and take care of that when he left Dagobah? He still had all that money and stuff from the Battle of Yavin. Sure, Jabba would be pissed after 2 months of silence, but I think he's more pissed after 5 years! The two are chased back to the Falcon by both people who want the bounty and a bunch of stormtroopers. Still, with Leia revealed to be alive, he knows he needs to tell Luke, so they set course for Dagobah. And indeed, Luke has been doing pretty well in his training, meditating and floating above the ground in his black robes. Wait, where did he get the robes? Did Yoda just have that in a trunk somewhere? Or is Force sewing also a power? Yoda congratulates him on finally mastering patience and quieting the anger in his spirit. But I am troubled, Master. The visions have returned, stronger than ever. What is this detours that I dream of?
A domain of evil it is.
Yoda tells Luke his training is almost complete, and he has a return to the dark side cave. This time, Luke follows the advice of not bringing his lightsaber.
A lightsaber is not your only weapon. Leave them all behind. On this, everything depends.
Turns out this whole thing has been a long con, and Yoda wants him to die in the cave so he can finally join the Sith. He encounters the vision of Vader again, but this time, after evading him, he sees images of the prequels along with the corrupted Leia.
Excuse me, sir, but have you seen a punk kid by the name of Skywalker?
Oh no, Han is my true enemy according to the cave! Where's my lightsaber? No, it's the real Han, and later he informs Luke of the bad news about Leia serving the Empire now. Luke wants to leave and rescue her, thinking that she must be under some form of coercion.
Look, I'm as concerned about Leia as the next guy.
Those 2 hours I spent with her 5 years ago really meant a lot to me.
But waltzing into the Imperial throne world seems like a really bad idea.
And I once tried to pretend that a rock was a thermal detonator, so I know bad ideas. Yoda agrees with Han that Luke isn't ready yet, at least not until he knows the full truth. He informs Luke about how Vader was Anakin. He does the "that's not true, that's impossible" thing, but much more subdued than an Empire. Understandable both because of the training and because he's not missing a hand and clinging to a pole for dear life. Yoda admits they kept this information from him because it would only have increased his impatience and anger, since there's still anger within him.
Fear was your father's path to the dark side. Unconquered, your anger to the same destiny will take you.
Well, at least I'll get a cool helmet out of it.
All depends on you, Luke. You were the last of the Jedi Knights, the only hope to overcome the tyranny of the Empire and the evil of the Sith.
Given what's going to happen later in the comic, that is a massive lie, Yoda. He also admits that Leia is his sister, Obi-Wan's ghost appearing to explain that they kept that detail secret even from him to avoid the truth ever being found out. However, they suspect at this point that the Emperor knows about Leia. He wants a successor to his job, and Vader is definitely not up to the task, but the son or daughter of Anakin could be it. I don't know what to do, Ben.
Let the Force speak to you, Luke. It will provide you with a path.
The Force keeps telling me I need to recruit B. Arthur from a bar on Tatooine? They meet up with Han again, who offers to take Luke where he needs to go, even if he thinks it's an insane plan. However, Yoda says that he'll be coming along too.
Bingo night it is at the Mos Eisley Community Center, and another commitment my ride has.
And we cut over to Coruscant, and wow, when the Empire doesn't have to spend its entire GDP on a second Death Star, they can really go nuts with the Super Star Destroyers. We also learn that they've rechristened the Death Star the Justice Star, which is like one step removed from calling it the Peace Moon like in Darths and Droids. Leia and 3PO head off to do whatever while the Emperor talks to Vader, saying he's pleased by how powerful she's becoming.
You, however, seem conflicted, apprentice.
I sense a disturbance in the Force, my master.
What you sense is the destiny I have put in motion, the extinguishing of the Jedi flame.
I don't know, man. Disturbance in the big energy field surrounding everything is usually not code for everything's going to plan. We end issue 3 with our heroes approaching Coruscant, dropping out of lightspeed right in the middle of whatever traffic-controlled nightmare all this is. Dudes, you can move in 3 dimensions, you know! Spread out! All it takes is one asshole to accidentally hit the gas instead of the brake, and this entire fleet goes down like dominoes. Han is not confident about all this.
Look, I know the Force is with you guys, but are you sure the Force is really with you?
The Force is just kind of playing it by ear, seeing which way the wind blows. Vader tells Palpatine that the disturbance is growing stronger, but Palpatine just assumes this to mean that Luke is approaching. So here's where everything goes bonkers. The Millennium Falcon sends out transponder codes to the Death Star, which are not recognized and ordered to land in a docking bay on it. This is in spite of the fact that they know nothing about them or what's on board. The ship could be, like, a bomb, or just something that jumps to light speed from the inside out of the Death Star. And please, no arguments in the comments section about how light speed works. I'm just saying, trying to do it from inside the Death Star itself is probably gonna do something to it. Otherwise, why the hell didn't Han try to escape from the Death Star that way in A New Hope? Like, why didn't they send it to another Star Destroyer? Why right on board your big capital ship, especially if it was loaded with proton torpedoes on a timer or something? At least in A New Hope it makes sense because it was the only ship there and no one knew about its existence. You had no reason to suspect anything, but you don't suspect a possible terrorist action when a ship just appears out of nowhere right next to your big space station? But yeah, they allow it and our heroes begin their plan. And what is that plan? Yoda and R2 walk out to meet the stormtroopers waiting for them.
Pleased I am to see you. For meeting us, I thank you. Expects us, does Admiral Tarkin.
Expects them, does Admiral Tarkin.
Important business we have.
Important business they have.
You think Vader ever does this? Like, he gets bored and just makes the stormtroopers do goofy things and repeat what he's saying in silly voices? Like, this just works. This was an option during the original trilogy? I have to keep harping on this. Why did Yoda go and wait in a goddamn swamp for 20 years if he could just walk onto any Imperial ship and make people do stuff for him? He tells them to let the Falcon go and he's off to go see Tarkin.
Boy, I could get used to this Force stuff. Say, I know a nice casino on Nar Shaddaa.
Cheating at gambling. This is how the Force works. Luke and Han head down to Coruscant to go after Leia, Luke echoing his words from Return of the Jedi about endangering the mission because they can sense his presence. Chewie remains behind on the Falcon to keep the engine running while Luke and Han head in. You don't have to do this, Han. Yeah, well, I'm still due a reward for rescuing the princess last time. What the hell were these boxes filled with if it wasn't his reward? Blue milk or something? Back on the Death Star, Yoda arrives at Tarkin's quarters. How dare you enter my quarters without—
A long time has it been. Much younger were we in the days of the Republic, Important you have become. Sufficient payment for your soul, I would hope.
I would attempt to justify myself, Master Yoda, but it seems my slippers are a bit tight.
A tour of your vessel I desire. A demonstration of its power I would see.
You didn't have to do this, you know. There's an official tourism section next to the gift shop. Han and Luke have encountered no guards during their infiltration, Luke figuring that they know they're here and want them to come in. At least until they run into the Imperial Guards. We never actually saw these guys in action in the movies. Closest we got was the Praetorian Guard fight in Last Jedi, which I still love. But it seems they're all armed with double-bladed lightsabers. Are they supposed to be Sith too? Or does the Emperor just have nostalgia for Darth Maul? Fortunately, we get some more spiffy lightsaber maneuvers in this. Han is obviously outclassed by these guys, armed with only a blaster, but Luke can fight them off and uses the Force to telekinetically move a double-bladed saber down and slice some of them in half. Han returns the favor by using a saber against one who is about to strike down at Luke. Wait, why are they even doing this if Vader and the Emperor want Luke there? 3PO shows up telling them that they need to help Leia before it's too late. But of course it is too late, and she's waiting for them alongside Vader and the Emperor.
Greetings, young Skywalker. I have waited a long time to meet you. How fitting that you came before us as a Jedi. I was kind of expecting to fight a moisture farmer. This works a lot better. Destiny has brought you to this moment, Jedi. A destiny I have crafted over many years. Yes, it was totally my plan to have Vader's kids show up, even though I didn't know they were even alive. Look at me, master strategist here. I'm a magnificent bastard, and you read my book.
Leia uses Vader's lightsaber as the Emperor rambles, Luke and Leia getting ready to fight, but Luke reveals how they're siblings. The Emperor says he's just lying, but Leia can sense the truth. However, to make sure that Luke doesn't refuse to fight, 3PO pulls a gun on Han. Vader is taken aback by the news that he had a daughter as well. Seems the Emperor forgot to give him the memo on that. Defend yourself, brother! Meanwhile, on the Death Star, Yoda has decided to start using it. With R2 accessing its systems and Tarkin under his control, he starts using the Death Star's weapons on the Imperial fleet.
A most impressive toy, Admiral. Intended for this use it was not, Wars not make one great, but fun sure as hell they are!
As Luke and Leia continue to clash, the Emperor says that whoever survives will be a great asset to them, but then he gets the bad news about the Death Star attacking all the other ships. Palpatine demands Vader get him Tarkin, but Vader's still stunned by the daughter news. Luke finally breaks through to her, and the two turn on the Emperor. Leia is a Skywalker, like our father, like the noble line of Jedi stretching over 1,000 generations. Jedi like... Wow, I just realized that in 5 years, Yoda never actually told me about any of the other Jedi. And so Palpatine busts out the Force lightning. Like in Return of the Jedi, Vader decides to intervene. However, he also doesn't have a big pit to toss him into, so he just yells at them to run. After bonking 3PO away and dragging him with them, Luke and Leia slice through some stormtroopers on their way back to the Falcon. The Emperor, meanwhile, has overpowered Vader.
You fool! Did you really think this would change anything? Life is change. Your Excellency. For instance, change into your brown pants you should. Yoda. Well, you've had a busy day. Don't think your little mission will deter me or this empire. Your pitiful powers are nothing compared to the dark side. Save your fleet, the dark side did not. Yeah, well, I'll just have a secret Sith army building a fleet of Death Stars on Exegol.
Yeah, beat that.
By now, the Death Star's weapon systems have been disabled by my troops. It's only a matter of time before you and your young charges are in my custody. Why delay the inevitable? Come down and face me, Jedi. Coming to see you I am. Now.
And yep, as our heroes escape on the Millennium Falcon, Yoda brings the Death Star crashing down into Coruscant right on top of the Emperor! Well, here we go! Yeah, size matters not according to Yoda, unless he wants to drop the Death Star right on Palpatine's face.
Remember how Senate discs you threw at me? This time something bigger have I to throw.
Hey Vader, remember when you said not to be impressed by the Death Star compared to the Force? I think you may need to make some reevaluations. Well, I guess it did live up to the name Justice Star, given Palpatine's own body count. I'm not sure I like the Jedi version of billiards. So, everyone on Coruscant is dead, right? Even if it didn't explode right after the collision, which it did, the gravitational forces would have ripped Coruscant to shreds when it's that close, right? Hey Yoda, what was that about the Jedi never using their abilities to attack? This wasn't even Yoda's original plan. He just got drunk on Tarkin's whiskey and had to improvise. I kinda just wanted to start rolling around the planet, just like add insult to injury. Gotta imagine this was in the Death Star plans. In the event of the weapon being disabled, just set a collision course and watch the fun. So, did Yoda explain to Luke and Han this plan? Like, he directly tell them, take over the Death Star myself I will, and then play bowling at Palpatine. You think this ever happened in the last 5 years? Like, the guy driving the Death Star got distracted and accidentally slammed it right into Naboo? The weird thing is that the insurance actually covers this. Well, I see we have our explanation for why in The Force Awakens, Coruscant isn't the capital world anymore. And finally, hey, I think this is how To Boldly Flee ended too. Oh my god, that was 10 years ago. Anyway, Han has this remark. Man, that's some light show.
Boom! Like happy festival fireworks, yeah?
The Force will be with you, Master. Always. Although apparently not with all the people down there! We cut to a few years later on some planet. Could be Naboo, could be anywhere since they don't name it. Leia has been elected Chancellor of the New Republic and everyone's attending the ceremony. And hey, it's a pretty prestigious event. They even got Captain Picard to stop by. 3PO mentions that he wishes R2 could have been here to see this. And the plucky droid himself shows up. Han revealing that they copied his memories into the Falcon's computer before he went with Yoda. Betting that a lot of people that day wished they had that option. And so our comic ends with some banter between the droids, and Luke pointing at the ghost of Jedi Master Murderer Yoda, who is now flanked by Vader and Obi-Wan. The comic is actually pretty good for the most part. And then we have that what the hell ending that makes it so memorable! Like, the story developments are all perfectly fine and reasonable. It makes sense that Obi-Wan would immediately direct Luke at Yoda, given how his need for revenge could have driven him to the dark side. Leia's own anger and sadness being used against her to turn her evil is good. I enjoyed some of the plays and how things developed, like the Vader face being Leia, or Han figuring out Yoda's con right away. But that final issue just makes the book go off the rails. Yoda so effortlessly getting onto the Death Star and seizing control of it. Vader's very sudden heel turn just because of learning Leia is his daughter. Dropping the Death Star right on top of Palpatine. Yeah, try to survive that one, asshole. It's gloriously insane, and it's what's kept the book talked about years later. I feel like there was a middle ground here. Like, sure, Yoda may be doing some stuff on the Death Star and then becoming a Force ghost as he dies after self-destructing it or something. Leia escapes with the others to restart the rebellion, and then they live to fight another day. Don't need to end the Empire or anything. But yeah, while the other two Infinities books do some goofy stuff, I think they kind of top themselves with this ending. The artwork is perfectly serviceable and exciting, and really, how many times can you say in your career, I was paid to draw the Death Star tackling Palpatine? Amazing. I would love them to do more of these. See how the prequels and sequels would have gone with some changes. Like, what if Anakin had died on the droid control ship? Or what if Kylo Ren just killed Palpatine and assumed control of the Final Order right away? That kind of stuff. However, next time we have another franchise with a planet-destroying ball, exploring how things would be different as we look at the Patreon-sponsored review of Transformers Deviations.
Sitting on my couch reviewing comics, the worst birds that you will ever see.
Have I ever told you the tragedy of Darth Sidious the Squished?